Hello, Marvel Legends, and welcome to another episode of Displaying Model Behavior. And today, we're going to take it down a little bit. We've been doing some high concept episodes lately, and that's really good fun, but sometimes it's good to go back to what you know, like putting on a comfortable pair of pants. It just feels right, and there's less stress going into it. Maybe I overthink underwear, but what we're going to do is another episode of the Legends Legacy Review, the bread and butter of this channel, and something that's been sorely lacking for the last few weeks. So, who is going to be on the docket this week with the Legends Legacy Review? It is Gwenpool. Gwenpool.
That's me! You said my name! I get an episode?
You sure do, Gwendolyn. Although I was just thinking, don't you worry that you're just a cheap ripoff of Harley Quinn and your humor is kind of outdated and millennial and the whole fourth wall character breaking shtick is a bit overplayed now and it's just a lazy excuse to make easy meta jokes?
You know what? I don't know. What I do know is that you're broadcasting this back to the people from my Earth, and I want in on it!
All right, well, that's fair enough, because as anyone who watches this show knows, I have zero artistic integrity and will pretty much do anything for subscribers, so let's do it.
Radical.
A figure that I held off on getting for the longest time, because I didn't really need her. I mean, to be honest, it's a rare collection that actually needs Gwenpool, because she's such a isolated kind of character. She very much lives in her own little world that's kind of metaphorically and in reality of the Marvel universe. She's just in her own little head and then everything else revolves around her. So it's difficult to know where to give her shelf space sometimes. But she does interact with a lot of the characters, and she is a really unique character as far as backstory goes and how she came into being. I'm sure a lot of you, if not all of you, I mean, if you're watching this, you're hardly new to Marvel Comics. You're not sat there going, well, who is this Gwenpool, Dave? Please tell me more. Well, as a matter of fact, I'm going to anyway, because I love the sound of my own voice. Gwendolyn Poole, first of all, she's not Gwen Stacy. That's a big sort of misconception that a lot of people, including myself, had. I'll throw my hands up in the air and wave them around like I just don't care and say, I assumed that she was an alternate reality Gwen Stacy. Wrong. False. She is, that is her name, Gwendolyn Poole. And first of all, this design, this character design here came from alternate covers. That's what I was trying to say. So Marvel did a whole series of alternate covers, and it was all based off of Spider-Gwen, but it was like different Gwens, and one of them was Gwenpool. And this just particular design looked kind of funky, kind of quirky, and it took off on the convention scene, and people were cosplaying in this Gwenpool kind of mashup. I mean, it's a fun design, and it's not like something crazy that other people can't replicate. So it kind of got a life of its own, going from a random cover to a popular convention cosplay. Then off the backs of that, she got her own series. So it was kind of cool that a Marvel character was made off of a convention craze, off of a random, fill-in cover. So the backstory behind Gwendolyn Poole is that she is from our reality, the real world where we have Marvel comics and they're all comic book characters. And somehow, don't fact check me on this, just like you should never fact check me on any of your videos. If you're writing any kind of a thesis or a university essay on comic book character histories or the price of what things are probably going to be worth, Cara Dune, don't use my videos as reference, because to be honest, if you do, then you deserve whatever you get. But this character got sucked into the Marvel 616, and she knows that she is a comic book character. And that's kind of world-breaking, but kind of not. It's interesting. Normally, I don't like things that kind of slap you in the face when you're reading Marvel comics that say, this is a comic, so this isn't real. But what you can kind of quite easily say when you're reading Gwenpool's appearances is that she's just nuts. So she thinks that, this is all written and this is all just following a script, and she talks about it to the other characters in the comics. Basically, if you watch Community, She's Abed.
Well, I see how that would be frustrating, but the fact is...
Your ass is on the line.
My ass is on the line.
You just got off the phone with the mayor.
I just got off the phone with the mayor? Stop doing that!
I'm trying to help. You're not doing this right.
It makes every 10 minutes feel like the beginning of a new scene of a TV show. Of course, the illusion only lasts until someone says something they never say on TV, like how much their life is like TV. There, it's gone.
She's Abed from Community. If you don't watch Community, you should do it. It's on Netflix now. And that character just speaks about himself and his friends as if they are in a sitcom, which they are. You know, and he'll talk about character tropes and story arcs and how people won't like this series or whatever. Gwenpool is exactly the same. She'll refer to characters' backstories, and she'll be able to predict. One of the reasons she's such a good fighter is that she can predict her opponent's moves because she knows what the formula is. And my little headcanon for how this can actually make sense in the 616 without breaking the reality of that world is that she, in my mind, has like a latent psychic ability. So she has telepathy. So she knows characters' backstories because she can read their minds. She knows what people are going to do because she has a precognitive kind of sense. But she doesn't realize that. In fact, having that knowledge has driven her crazy. So the only way she can handle it is by thinking that she's from another reality, when in fact she's just a mutant who's, you know, cooked up this fantasy in her head to explain the nonsense craziness that's going on around here. Excuse me, easy for me to say. But that is my Gwenpool headcanon. What do you think? Is that close to being... I haven't read many Gwenpool issues. Have people said whether or not that's actually what the deal is? Or is it just like, no, she is actually from our world? In which case I'm like, I don't really like that so much because that's acknowledging that in the Marvel 616, that is just a comic book world. I don't know, maybe I care about it too much. Anyway, what I do care about is action figures, and 6 minutes into this review, let's talk about it because this is a low-key, fantastic figure. More so than I gave her credit for. Like I said, I held off on getting this for the longest time because I was like, I don't need her. And eventually I just got her in a bundle. But she's become a real star. So she's a female figure. So naturally you think, oh, it's going to be that kind of Spider-Girl, sort of fimbly-bimbly. Not so. This is actually a really well put together, like it feels like a sturdy kind of figure. It doesn't feel too limp and twiddly, and you know, she has like a thicker sort of calves here, which I guess is great because she's wearing, with her costume, she's wearing shin guards which kind of bulk out her calves, and that looks really good. The whole design is great. I love, like, she's got her little sneakers, her trainers here with the laces all done there. The sculpting on these are really lovely. They're excellent, you know. Plus you're going up with, like I said, you've got the gym socks that actually have the lines sculpted into them. Again, the shin guards are terrific. Then you've got this separate belt piece with the little G for Gwen there with the different pockets and pouches. Now her swords are removable, which is another really nice touch, and with a whole bunch of different hands as well, you have different display options. So you can have her, you know, holding the swords, posing like that, but of course, why would you do that when she also comes with one of the more unique accessories, a mobile phone? I mean, that's just, this character, I mean, you can see it's almost a bit cynical that someone sat down and was like, what are kids into? Kids are into Snapchat and Instagram filters and what's it called? The TikToks, although she came out before TikTok, I think. But still, like, this is the TikTok generation right here. And I know I'm sounding like an old man telling people to get off my lawn, but that's who she is. But they play up to it. And so this pose that I've got her in here, like, she's got the whole kawaii piece, like selfie. It was only a matter of time before we incorporated our selfie culture into action figures, and what better character to do it with? For better or for worse, Gwenpool represents a certain generation and a demographic, and I'm here for it. It's really fun. So I dig the whole selfie taking pose, and she looks really fun putting her next to any other character and having her do that pose. It looks cute. It looks ridiculous. Speaking of cute, she has the little penguin backpack as well. That's super fun. And you can actually take this backpack off if you manipulate the arms enough, and you could put this backpack on, say, Spider-Girl, make that character look more interesting. Anyone with those small shoulders could wear this backpack. So that's a really fun accessory. Then she has 2 heads. She has 2 heads. So I will show you the first head that I have on here is the selfie tongue sticking out head. Again, I don't know why kids do this, but there. Is that cute? That's just like people like sticking their tongues out for these kinds of things. It's either that or duck face. At least she's not doing a duck face. So that's, nah, I don't understand that. Kids today, am I right? Get off my lawn. But yeah, she's got the tongue sticking out head, and she also has just the regular smiley head. And that's a fun head as well. So either one, there's not a huge difference in them, but it's nice to have the option. So since I have her posing with the phone, I'll give her the smiley head. So all of that together is just, it's a really fun package. And being just a single release figure, she's well worth it. If you can find Gwenpool, I highly recommend her. And also, it's just a very unique design as well. How many characters have this kind of white and pink sort of aesthetic? It's creative, it's imaginative, it's different. It pops, that was a bad one. I can't do it. Anyway, she pops off the shelf. There you go, that's better. What was I saying? She pops off the shelf with these wonderful sort of two-tone, sort of striking kind of design. In fact, it really makes me wonder, Jessie, what bar is Gwenpool?
Thanks for asking, David. So when it comes to Gwenpool, what bar is she? I would have to say that she reminds me of a cherry Laffy Taffy, because she's able to stretch and jump through the different time portals. And when it comes to the drink I think she reminds me of, it would have to be a pink monster. When it comes to that, I think it's because she's sweet and bubbly, but you get her under pressure and you puncture her, there's gonna be an explosion. And the last thing I think I would compare Gwenpool to is gonna be the AEW champion Riho, because she might be small, but she's feisty.
Thank you, Jessie, for that what bar segment. And now that we've gone over the essentials with Gwenpool, and I haven't even pointed out in particular that the rabbit ears, or did I? Either way, it's such a fun posing option. So yeah, you can tell I really like this figure. So let's actually stack her up against a few others and see how she looks with some other members of the Marvel Universe. So Gwenpool is on a lonesome to start with, but not for long, because first of all, we're going to team her up, of course, with Spider-Gwen, Gwen Stacy. Now then, going to the second half of her mashup, it is Wade Wilson, the Merc with a Mouth, Deadpool. Coming in after those, it's got to be the civilian version, the retro Gwen Stacy, and now we have Sheikla, who you have to purchase in order to get Jeff the Landshark. Yeah, I didn't mention that before, but that's Hasbro being Hasbro. God bless them. Now then, we're going to pair her up with the other Deadpool mashup. It's the big, bad, crazy Venompool. And finally, just for kicks, it's the other character who's rocking the crazy white and pink color scheme. It is Nimrod. They look great together. And finally, I'm going to put together the little class photo to show you my Gwenpool team. What do you think? I love these little group shots. All right, that's the character comparison lineup. Again, she's just a fun addition. She brightens up the shelves that she's on. And you can put her with various characters like, I know she was with the West Coast Avengers for a little while. And that, as a matter of fact, is, of course, as I showed earlier, where she has Jeffrey the Landshark, which is, again, a fun, silly accessory. I know that I feel like this is all like a very sort of generational, kitsch, cute kind of thing, but I dig it. You know, maybe pushing 40 or knocking on the doors of 40, I'm probably getting a bit too old to be like, yeah, this is my generation. It's not. But I can still enjoy the silliness of it. I get it. You kids live your lives. You enjoy doing what you do. So Jeffrey the Landshark to put with Gwenpool is a really, really fun combination. So yeah, with all of that in mind, I'm going to see where she goes on the Legends Legacy ranking. Now, honestly, this one was kind of tricky because I hadn't really given the figure all that much thought until doing this review and then realizing that it does have a lot of great qualities. So I'm gonna have to put her pretty high up, but again, there's other figures who I have more affection for, who maybe are like chunkier or are more iconic as far as my favorite characters, but she is so good with so many accessories. I'm gonna put her above Kraven the Hunter, just below Baron Zemo, who I had to jump through hoops to get. She is gonna go in at an extremely solid number 6 on the Legends Legacy ranking. Well done, Gwenpool. Very respectable numbers right there. And that is a very strong position for Gwenpool there, and well deserved as well. Also, I have to point out, I've got some blue tack in her hand here because you can't really see, in her phone hand. I've got some blue tack because the amount of times that phone has fallen, I've been like, well, it's lost forever. And then eventually I'll find it after ripping what little hair I have out. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is my Legends Legacy review of Gwenpool. What do you think of Gwenpool? Comment below, let me know. And at the very end, I give this figure a sub rating of...
Impressive. Most impressive.
And there we are. I mixed up the order at the end a little bit there, but you got the gist of it. Folks, thank you so much for watching. It was a real pleasure to get back to doing the old Legends Legacy reviews. I'm going to try and do a few more of these, and I'll pepper in some of the special episodes as well. Folks have been asking about the Data Blast. I probably will bring the Data Blast back. I would like to. It's just... it takes a long time to curate that kind of stuff because I ask people's permission before I use the pictures and whatnot, and it's a whole thing. But I will try and reincorporate that because it is a fun part of the videos. But guys, that was Gwenpool. I hope you enjoyed it. So until next time, keep displaying model behavior.